Okay, we've all heard the sound of one of the most powerful speeches in history, right? But what if we could actually look under the hood and see its blueprint? Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct the I Have a Dream speech. And not just as, a historical moment, but as a total masterclass in persuasion. We're going to reveal the timeless toolkit that gives it that incredible enduring power. I mean, just listen to those words. Delivered by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. way back in 1963, right from the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. And they still just resonate with this power that hasn't faded one bit. They're not just famous lines from a speech. They're practically woven into the fabric of our collective memory. But here's the thing. This wasn't just a raw, passionate moment. No, it was a meticulously crafted argument. The I Have a Dream speech, it didn't just move people, it persuaded them. It literally helped reshape a nation's consciousness. And in doing so, it left behind this incredible blueprint for anyone who needs to change the world with just their words. So you gotta wonder, right? What was the secret? How did one single speech manage to do so much? Well, the answer isn't just about the man or even the historical moment. It's actually in a very specific rhetorical toolkit, a playbook, really, that was first laid out more than 2,000 years ago by the ancient Greeks. So let's get into it. Let's deconstruct this masterpiece and see exactly how it works. Okay, so this toolkit we're talking about, it comes from the one and only Greek philosopher Aristotle. In his work, Rhetoric, he basically broke it all down. He identified these three fundamental appeals, a kind of timeless triad that, believe it or not, still forms the foundation of pretty much all effective communication today. All right, first up, you've got ethos. This is all about the appeal to credibility. Think of it like this. It's the foundation of any argument. Before an audience is going to listen to what you have to say, they have to trust you. So, ethos basically answers that silent question in everyone's mind, why should I believe you? Okay, next up is logos. This is the appeal to logic. If ethos is the foundation, logos is kind of like the intellectual scaffolding of the whole speech. It's the part of the argument that's built on facts, on evidence, on pure reason. It's all about convincing the audience's mind that what you're saying makes sense. And finally, we have pathos. And if logos is the brain, pathos is the heart. It's the engine of the speech. This is the appeal to emotion. Pathos is what connects with the audience's values, their hopes, their fears, and it's what ultimately transforms people from just passive listeners into active, passionate believers. So here's the key, right? The real power isn't in using just one of these. It's about combining them. You've got ethos, which makes the audience trust you. Then logos helps them understand you, the reason part. And pathos, that makes them feel with you. For any message to be truly persuasive, you absolutely need all three working together. Okay, so let's see how Dr. King put this toolkit into action, starting with ethos. I mean, think about it. He's standing there, facing a crowd of 250,000 people, plus a pretty skeptical nation watching on TV. He had to build that credibility, and fast. And he did it on three completely different levels. So first, he builds his personal authority. He uses the word we constantly, connecting with that shared experience of injustice. Then, he leans into his professional authority, using that powerful rhythmic cadence of a Baptist minister that people knew and trusted. And then, and this is so crucial, he claims a political authority. He frames his whole cause not as some protest against America, but as a demand for America to finally live up to its own promises. And that metaphor of the promissory note, I mean, what a genius move. It completely reframed the entire debate. All of a sudden, this wasn't just a moral plea anymore. Nope. It was a demand to settle a concrete legal debt. He positioned himself not as some outsider trying to tear down the system, but as a patriot demanding the system honor its own contract. It's just brilliant. Okay, so credibility is huge, but it's not enough on its own, right? You need a rock-solid argument to back it up. And that brings us to logos, the logical structure holding this whole speech together. You have to remember, this wasn't just an emotional outpouring. It was a really precise, well-reasoned case for justice. And the core of his logic is this perfect syllogism. It's like a logical 1, 2, 3 punch. First, he lays out the premise. Hey, a promise was made. Step 2, he shows the failure. That promise was broken, like a bad check stamped with insufficient funds. And step 3, the logical conclusion. We are here to cash that check. It's just a simple, powerful, undeniable line of reasoning. And then he hammers that logic home with a single powerful number. He keeps bringing up the 100 years that had passed since the Emancipation Proclamation. 100 years. By doing that, he transforms this long, painful wait for justice into a cold, hard, logical fact. And that's what gives so much weight to what he calls the fierce urgency of now. He also uses this amazing logical contrast. He's constantly putting these two opposing images side by side, like the dark and desolate valley of segregation versus the sunlit path of racial justice. By doing this, he frames the whole situation as a super clear black and white choice. The logic is just inescapable. You're either in the darkness or you're moving toward the light. All right, so logic gives an argument its skeleton, its structure. But pathos gives it life. This is where King takes his audience from just nodding along in intellectual agreement to making a real emotional commitment. This is the engine of empathy we talked about. And he starts by making this abstract idea of injustice feel totally real, almost tangible. He uses such vivid, sensory language. I mean, phrases like manacles of segregation, chains of discrimination, living on a lonely island of poverty. These words are designed to create empathy by making the audience literally feel the crushing weight of it all. And then comes the most famous part of the entire speech. And get this, it was a section he largely improvised right there on the spot. He uses this incredible rhetorical device called Anaphora, which is just repeating a phrase at the start of each new idea. And that refrain, "I have a dream," it just builds this rhythmic, musical momentum that's impossible to resist, sweeping the entire crowd up into one single, shared vision of the future. So what he's doing is taking his audience on this carefully managed emotional journey. He starts with the deep pain of suffering, but then he lifts them up with this incredible poetic vision of hope, and he grounds it all in the shared spiritual language of the Bible, which totally transforms a political rally into something that feels more like a sacred quest for justice. But here's the thing. The real genius of this speech isn't just that he used ethos, logos, and pathos. It's in how he wove them together. Each one strengthens the others. You could call it rhetorical synergy. It's where the whole becomes so much greater than the sum of its parts. So first off, his ethos, his credibility, grounds his pathos. Because the audience already trusted him as this incredible moral leader, his powerful emotional appeals didn't come across as manipulation. Instead, they were heard as righteous, justified urgency. Next up, his logos, his logic, validated his pathos. That whole logical case of the bad check proved that the intense emotion the audience was feeling was a completely rational response. It's like the logic gave them permission to be angry, because that anger was justified by the cold, hard facts of a 100-year-old broken promise. And finally, that soaring hope of the dream, the pathos, is what gave the logical argument wings. It animated the whole thing. It provided the motivation, the energy, and the ultimate reason why the crowd should act on the demands that his logic had so clearly laid out for them. And there you have it, the complete rhetorical package. You've got a trusted speaker, a logical argument, and an emotional vision all working together. It just goes to show that this 2,000-year-old toolkit is still the absolute key to communication that doesn't just inform people, but actually transforms them. So it kind of makes you wonder, right? What modern message, what urgent problem today could be totally transformed if we just applied this same deliberate balance of character, logic, and emotion?